Good morning. Well, it looks like the Trump administration is set to take a chainsaw to the federal government, which is interesting because much of our economy is reliant on the functioning of the federal bureaucracy in order to work. So we may be, in fact, as Elon Musk said, in for some lean years. I am sort of on the fence about it. I think it's a dumb idea, but at the same time, I think the federal government is extremely unwieldy and bloated. I just don't think you need to take a chainsaw to it. I think you need to take a scalpel to it. But you got a bunch of inexperienced people who are essentially novices when it comes to understanding how the government works, who are going to go in there and try and chop it to pieces. But what I think is that it will create significant opportunities for mutual aid institutions to show what we can do. And we will have to step up in order to fill the gaps left by a destroyed federal government. And what I'm going to call mutual aid is not direct action, but is indirect action. You think of it, direct action is like protest or military action or some other sort of direct confrontation, whereas indirect action like mutual aid or cooperatives or something like that is about filling the gaps left by a crumbling empire. And this sort of destruction of the federal bureaucracy may in fact be the death knell in that crumbling empire, and it may be imperative on us as mutual aid institutions to respond by providing the things that the federal government does not provide. But what I really want to talk about is the politics of helping, just helping out. I've done a lot of activist community organizing work in my life. I've done a lot of ideologically driven stuff. And I find that turns a lot of people off, and it doesn't really build the type of institutional power that we want to do. It's like a quasi-religious type activism or organizing, in the sense that you're trying to convert people to a specific ideology or way of thinking. Whereas the politics of helping builds trust, and it weaves the bonds of community because people look to you to serve them and to be a trusted member of the community or a trusted institution within the community. And that trust goes a long way to building relationships. And that's really what we need and what we're going to need in order for us to survive and thrive in the coming years. And that's relationships. And I think it's interesting because a lot of people are sort of in the prepper mode now, and I'm kind of consider myself similar to that. But preppers, they get guns and food and supplies, and they stockpile all this stuff, and that's going to be fine, but that's only going to sustain you for a limited amount of time. And what we really need going forward into the future is people. We need strong relationships based on trust, based on mutual aid, based on contributing to the community, based on skill sharing, and based on building a society that all of us can be proud of. That's not really ideologically based. It's more based on what we do for one another. And I guess that is a type of ideology, but it's an ideology that's more based in service than in a quasi-religious type of approach. So the prepping should be basically make friends, go out and make friends. And one of the things in our society, and I think this has been purposeful, is that people in our society don't have friends. They have work acquaintances, they have church acquaintances, but they don't really have friends. As I was looking at statistics, and like 38% of the population have 4 or fewer friends. Most people over half have 5 or fewer friends. Really, every person in any community anywhere should have approaching 100 friends, because that's about the number of relationships that a human being can maintain over time is about 100 different types of friendships. So really, we shouldn't have 5 or 6 friends. We should all have 100 friends. And that's a big, big difference. If we have these friendships and these people that we can rely on to come to our aid and we come to their aid when the time calls for it, then we can build a society in the ashes of a crumbling empire and in what may very well be the death knell of that empire with the chainsaw approach to cutting the bloat of the federal government that the Trump administration is going to take. It may be our opportunity to build that new society, and that starts with just going out and making strong friendships, not based on ideology, but based on mutual trust. And that's the politics of helping. You help somebody, you build trust with them, they help you, they build trust with you, and that's power. And everything that gets accomplished collectively. Nothing is done individually. And if we are to survive for the future, we're going to have to take this approach, which is that we need a shit ton of friends. We need a lot of friends, people that we can trust and that we can count on. And it's always been that way. It's never not been that way. So as much as things are changing and as much as things are scary, things are kind of the same as they've ever been. We'll see y'all next time. Peace, y'all.